All right, here with reaction, Fox News contributor, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is with us. You know, for Bibi, this has been something, and I've known him all these years, all these decades, that he has discussed and talked about that Iran is an existential threat to the world, that they can't have nuclear weapons. Now we had a partner in President Trump. Here's the most spectacular thing, though. They didn't learn a thing from Operation Midnight Hammer. They didn't learn anything about the Israelis knocking out all of their, missile defense systems, all of their air defense systems. And what part of 14 bunker buster bombs that Trump used to obliterate their nuclear program did they not remember? They seem to have forgotten.
Sean, this is what ideologue, theocracies, thugs, evil bringers do, right? They're not. It's not about lessons. It's not about logic. If this was about logic, they would have found a way to strike an arrangement where they would have given up the capacity to build a nuclear weapon in exchange for just being a normal nation and getting sanctions relief. But that's not what they chose. They chose to continue to build, to continue to take Chinese missiles, anti-ship missiles, deals with the Russians, to try and continue to kill the little state in Israel and to destroy the great state in America. This is deeply buried. You know, we've been talking about this for over a decade, you and I, Sean. But long before I was even the CIA director, this is a regime that was unreformable. President Trump finally said the risk was too great. It's time to go. And now you can see it. The rial at 1.7 million rial to the dollar, an economy destroyed, and a military that's on the cusp of being defanged as well.
They seem now to be just flailing and firing missiles indiscriminately all over the region. It's just no rhyme or reason or seemingly any purpose to it. How do you interpret that? We know there's regime change because everybody was killed in the first 30 seconds, including the supreme leader. What is likely to emerge here, and how would you expect that happens?
My sense is they're going to fight to their last breath. And when I say they, the 49 people who replaced those 49, who are soon to probably be replaced by the next 49, leaving massive gaps in the mid-level leadership as well. I think they'll continue to try to cause harm and try to convince the world that the cost is too high so that we'll all back off, that the West will lose its will to actually continue to defang the Iranian regime. I don't see Prime Minister Netanyahu or President Trump doing that. I don't see the Gulf Arab states any longer being willing to tolerate this kind of threatening regime that has been sitting across the straits for them. I think they're all in as well. Everyone understands this is the moment to complete the task, to take down their capacity and their will. And I think we're well on the way, even though we're just at the beginning of day 4, Sean. There's still a lot of targets, a lot of work left to do. And President Trump has demonstrated his willingness and commitment to completing the mission.
You know, maybe the historic Abraham Accords, maybe that's the pathway. And I did ask the Prime Minister whether or not that would continue and how crucial Saudi Arabia would be in that process. And more than open. And as you know, in your time being Secretary of State, it wasn't talked about a lot, but there was intelligence sharing and there was a common purpose between the United States, Israel, the Jordanians, the Egyptians, the Saudis, and other Arab countries against Iranian hegemony and against a nuclear-armed Iran. That reality now seems to be achieved, but that began in President Trump's first term. You were a part of it.
Yeah, Sean, that's absolutely true. Look, it was quiet then for political reasons. Now that's been unmasked. Now everyone can see openly that it is the Islamic Republic of Iran that's killing Muslims throughout the region intentionally, indiscriminately. You pointed earlier about indiscriminate. These aren't military targets they're going after. They've gone after hotels and civilian infrastructure, and now the energy infrastructure. I think the Chinese Communist Party is going to have a really difficult decision to make, right? They need this oil far worse than we do. And if the Strait of Hormuz is threatened in any serious way, we'll do our part. But the Chinese Communist Party's got a real commercial problem. And your point is well taken. The Abraham Accords set a model, the basic, simple recognition of Israel's fundamental right to exist. And I think every nation in the region, and frankly, Islamic countries in Asia as well, are going to come to see it that way. And a really good turn for the world will have been done by President Trump putting America first and taking these actions.
Am I Pollyannish to believe that there's a real shot at a long and lasting peace now in the region?
You know, Sean, I pray that it's so. There's a lot of history there. I think the opportunity, however, is real. And we know this. Had President Trump not taken these actions, had he just allowed this to continue as the way that previous presidents had for so long, the chance of that was precisely zero. This opens that opportunity. The Iranian people will be part of making sure that that is a real opportunity. And then so many good things can flow from this.
All right. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, thank you.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.